to just take a brief minute. We just had our parish president give a quick speech here talking about his tenure and history and importantly his respect for veterans. But I couldn't help but just reflect upon the fact that 26 years, over a quarter of a century of his life, committed to this parish. And I know every year this event right here is something that he holds in such high regard. And he talked about the park, the helicopter, all of the efforts that he's undertaking on behalf of this parish to honor the veterans that are in Iberville Parish and in this region. And Mr. President, 26 years, my goodness, a quarter of a century, that's a remarkable period of time. Number two, just always, every year, making sure that this event happens, making sure that our veterans are respected and held in high regard, that we never forget the history of this country, the history of the state, the history of this parish. I just want to ask all of you, a quarter of a century, we give our president the respect that he deserves. Thank you, Sheriff. Speaking of respect, there was a football player named Pat Tillman who was played in the NFL. He played for the Arizona Cardinals. And look, we can sit here, we can talk about World War I and World War II. Thank you for your service. But look, the reality is that most of us in this room, we have very vivid memories of September 11th. And Pat Tillman was in the NFL. He was making millions and millions of dollars playing professional football. He had just been offered a new contract to re-up for $3.6 million. But it was in the aftermath of 9/11, after our country had been attacked, after our values had been attacked, right here on American soil. You know what Pat Tillman said? He said no to $3.6 million. You know what he said yes to? Enlisting in the United States Army. He left the NFL behind so he could go fight to make sure that those terrorists that attacked us on our soil, those terrorists that tried to take away the values that we have, the freedoms that we have, they would not win. And I think about that sacrifice. I think about that prioritization. You know, the president just talked about our values. He talked about the conflict in this divided nation. Look, there are things we can fight about. There are things we should fight about. But we also have to prioritize. So we can sit here and fight over all sorts of different things. We can fight over where exactly, Mr. President, a new bridge alignment should be. We can fight over that. But you know what? As important as that is, fighting to protect the freedoms that we have in this country, it's a higher priority. You know, today, I started out in Zachary this morning. They had a great veterans event, grueling. Mayor had a breakfast for veterans. And here today, I love the fact that we remember, that we respect, that we hold our veterans in such honor and high regard. But I want to remind you why. You know, you can travel around the world. You can look up different countries and freedoms and liberties that individual citizens have. You know, there are countries today where women aren't even allowed to show their face. They're not allowed to show their face. There are countries where they can't drive and can't be educated. Countries like North Korea, the head of North Korea actually killed his own uncle, because he thought that his uncle had said something bad about him. And here we're in a country where we can express whatever views we have. We can express them freely. We're in a country to where we can respect our God and we can have awesome prayers honoring the God and the Christ that gave his life for us. We're in a country that we can start our own businesses, we can achieve whatever our definition of the American dream is. And you know, every single day, I think so many of us, and I feel like I do, we take it for granted. And we're so far from World War I and World War II and these big battles, but today, there are countries, there are people around the world that don't want us to have the freedoms that we have. They don't want us to be able to worship the God that we worship. And the fact that we're sitting right here, the fact that we're safe, the fact that we have such a great community in South Louisiana, imperfect, but great, is because of the sacrifice of so many men and women in this room, who, like Pat Tillman, were willing to sign up and put absolutely everything on the line for complete strangers, for the next generation. When I think about sacrifice, I think about honor. There's nothing greater. It's absolutely amazing. So today, or tomorrow, Veterans Day, we need to thank our veterans. But look, it's every single day because of the gifts, the blessings that we have here in the United States. We need to thank veterans. It's every day that we need to make sure that we're properly prioritizing. Yes, we're going to disagree on things. And Mr. President, we need a southern bridge, we need a northern bridge, we need it all, we do, and I'm in. We're going to get that bridge done. We are. We're going to get it built. But before we start fighting with each other on liberal and conservative issues or whatever else, we've got to make sure we're prioritizing. And it's all about the freedoms we have. It's about making sure that this country and the blessings we have, that we fight for it, we protect it, and we ensure that our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren and beyond have the same awesome country and awesome opportunities that we do. So veterans in this room and their dependents and their families, thank you so much, and God bless you for your sacrifice for our amazing nation, and God bless the United States.